I think you're going to share your own screen, right?
That's correct.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
We see you.
See my screen? We good?
See you.
Excellent. Okay. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. As Tim said, I've been with IBI and TIBCO a considerable amount of time. It's actually decades, and nothing gives me more pleasure than to be able to talk about WebFOCUS. Although I will say, seeing how WebFOCUS is used at our customer sites is probably the number one way that I get a professional rush. Anyway, so let's talk about our presentation. Let's dive into the agenda. In terms of my portion, I'll be 20 minutes. And what I want to do is give you a roadmap of the number of modern BI capabilities that WebFOCUS, the platform, is starting to deliver. It'll be some of the high-level things that are especially relevant around designers so that you get an idea of what's coming down the pike. Some of those capabilities have actually happened and been delivered in 8207.28, which has been dropped. It is available to you today. And so we'll go over that new feature overview very succinctly today also. The topical question I'm sure everybody's asking is, which tool do I use? Between Designer, App Studio, and InfoAssist, there are three options here. I'm going to give you some guidelines as to what to consider based upon today's state of those tools. And I'll do that by role, and then I'll do it by a functional table to give you some guidance as to which one to lean towards when you are about to embark upon development. It gives me great pleasure to say that Michelle Moody is here from our product management team. So Michelle is actually, one of the development people working with our capabilities with WebFOCUS. And Michelle's going to keep me on the straight and narrow today. And Michelle, I invite you to chime in anytime and set me straight if I go down the wrong path, okay?
Thank you so much, Joe.
Okay, Michelle. And I also want to say that Joanne Gretzinger is here. Joanne is our engineer manager. So she's my boss, and she's going to also keep me on the straight and narrow. So hi, Joanne. How are you?
Hi, guys. Nice to see you.
Okay, great. And then I'm going to do a quick commercial because TIBCO Now, which is our annual digital user conference, is happening next week. It's a 4-day event, 2 core days, but it starts Monday. And I'll give you some indications on what you can expect and how you can register for that. Now, as Tim said, the Q&A period at the end of the overall session is where I'd like you to direct your questions to us, Michelle, myself, whoever, instead of doing it on the fly here. That'll allow us to stay on track. And if you have any quick questions, maybe you could send those out in the chat and some of my peers can address them. But anyway, we'll roll forward with that objective. And the demonstration for the subsequent 20 minutes will be done by AJ, who will do an expert demonstration on what you can see in 8207.28. So on a macro level for our product direction, there are 3 pillars of attention that we're working on. The cloud is definitely a significant one with containerized deployment. That is absolutely something that we have embarked upon, starting to roll that out. The second one is our modern BI capabilities. The operative word there is modern, so that it means working with a modern tool, but also being able to deliver modern content that looks compelling, is informative, is exciting. And we're going to demonstrate that today. On the right is my data science and machine learning capabilities. And those are the ones that we're really going to focus on today. These are both exciting. I'm sure you'll see a lot of great functionality coming forward with those pillars. Specifically for designer, and again, broad brushstrokes on the roadmap information, there are 4 areas of concentration here that are being the center of attention for how we take designer forward. And one is quite simply, obviously the enhanced designer workflow and user interface. Making designer that one single product or session that you'll be able to deliver everything is the intent. And for those of you who know WebFOCUS, there is a massive amount of functionality in our products. So being able to leverage all that within designer is a challenge. We ask for a little patience, but you'll see we're making great progress towards that. And on the right of that, performance improvements, making everything hum. So there's less lag time in the answer set you get from your big data sources. But even those little things like how much time it takes to load a filter, within your dashboard because it's showing the values in your big data. How long is that going to take to load that control? Again, those types of performance improvements reduce lag, and those two together, the enhanced designer workflow and user interface and the performance improvements drive productivity. All right, less time, get more out of it. Down at the bottom, I'm safe to say that Designer is probably the #1 tool that's receiving R&D from our corporate resources. But so is Portal, and the way those two work together is very impactful in driving a lot of effectiveness. When you have your content built with Designer, you want to deploy it into the portal. You'll see that that can be done quickly and effectively. And once it's in the portal, you're going to gain the advantages of personalization, security, and branding. Again, and all that will drive user adoption. And on the left, the instant insight is being able to use data science to augment your analytics, being able to discover more with the aid of the machine. This slide I find very compelling and important. And, frankly, I'm going to read the blue paragraph. And presently, and that's a very operative word here too, presently the WebFOCUS authoring suite includes Designer, InfoAssist, and App Studio. So yes, there are 3 choices that you have today. Along with new features and capabilities, we are working to standardize the platform within Designer. So Designer will be the be-all and end-all tool. It's just a matter of us getting there. As we continue to develop bring forward the most valuable authoring functionality from the legacy tools into Designer. And I want to say that there's new functionality that's available in Designer that hasn't even been in App Studio or InfoAssist. But when they bring over the functionality, you're going to see that it's being brought over in a modern way. So it's being improved, it's being more effective. And those are the things that make Designer very exciting. So the 4 key areas of focus, and we like that term, are those that you see here in the bullets, and I'm going to dive into each of those individually. Before I do, Michelle, do you have any quick comments on what I've said so far?
No, Joe, I think you're doing great. Wonderful representation of our tool set there. And yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to achieve. We're being very thoughtful about what are those high value features and functionality across our authoring suite, and how do we present that to our users in Designer in those improved workflows and those easy to use designs that we're starting to see now with our latest release. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Okay, very good. So filtering, something as seemingly utilitarian and straightforward as filtering is a big factor of concentration right now. Getting at that data to generate your curated view of data is massively important, and being able to filter and whittle that information into that truly effective insight answer set. We're going to be able to do that from master files and external sources. We will have filter support for local and global parameters. We're going to support large data sources with manual filtering, so bomb your own, but then also have it be high performing. Have time-based controls, be context sensitive to the time zone you're in, so it's all relevant that way. And even have compound filter expressions, and you'll be able to dictate how to bring those together and what relationships and operations to join those filtered expressions together also, all to get that curated view of data. On this slide, I always felt that WebFOCUS was extremely powerful in branding, because we have customers that roll out applications and info apps, and people don't necessarily know when it's gone from their standard web app into the WebFOCUS reports and info apps and things like that, because it looks the same and it acts the same. But that was mainly achieved in Designer with style sheets and cascading style sheets. I'm happy to say that now we do conditional styling for reports, so that you can dictate based upon the contents of the report how things should be branded and styled and brought to the consumer's attention. And all this can be done right within the designer's session. It's not through a style sheet. You're able to do this dynamically and even override some of the attributes within the style sheet. The thumbnail on the right is a quick little example of all the things you have access to. That'll look familiar, again, for stylizing up your documents, your web pages, and your reports. Advanced reporting and application development. This is where arguably the biggest gap has been between Designer and App Studio. Going big, going complex. We have worked towards and are working towards delivering paginated canvas so that you can have a compound document in PDF, PowerPoint, Excel that drives a whole lot of value is an e-statement. Being able to have that created within Designer is definitely a forthcoming undertaking. And I'm happy to say that today, as demonstrated by AJ, you're going to see how we can even get info apps now developed from within Designer. And those info apps will have link controls. That's through filter chaining. We have an additional control out there, actually a couple different types. One is a toggle control, for example. So a lot of this complex content is now being supported through Designer. And up in the top in the blue paragraph area, I want to stress the fact that Reportcaster definitely supports all the content developed from Designer. So the ability to schedule and push the content is absolutely business as usual, regardless of whether it's developed in Designer or the other tools. Designer has the ability to create Analytics Anywhere documents. So those have been historically the cumulative reports that you can do the Analytics Anywhere capabilities with. But now we're starting to have Designer be able to go further than that to the Analytics Anywhere dashboards and more elaborate content for that functionality, even within e-statements. So again, a roadmap direction there. Charting and visualization, including maps, something that we're always working towards. Our Esri adapter is very, robust. It will be more so by developing Esri-based content with Designer that will support multiple data layers, for example. We'll be able to make use of the 3D mapping capabilities within Esri. We'll have the map viewer support clustering and heat maps. So, location and analytics is very powerful for an extra dimensionality in your BI applications. Designer will be able to support that. And always keeping our ear to the ground for the other types of visualizations that the industry is adopting that our user community needs, like native time series charting, how they actually behave, and like I say, being responsive to our customers' requests. Now remember this slide? Okay, I basically talked about the center pillar. Let's do a one slide now on the third pillar of data science and machine learning. So this is massive. This is the wave of the future, having the computing power, the statistical capabilities to help you. And when I say you, I mean you as not necessarily a data scientist, but as a business analyst. So we want to make this all leverageable by you. It's going to be easy to be able to work with this, especially because, as you can see from this example here, we're striking up a natural query language. So you'll be able to talk to WebFOCUS in your language and ask it to do things like you would of a person. So very powerful, very effective, high productivity, ease of use, and for a full spectrum of users. Okay, so that's huge. Now, I'm not getting into all the other data science capabilities we have, but there's a whole array of, again, model support, the way we support R and Python and all those other data science attributes that, again, are making this whole undertaking successful and powerful to you. So how have a lot of those manifested into 8207.28? We have a list of a lot of the features that you can see. I just sort of listed those in this slide. I'm happy to say that it has just dropped this week. So 8207.28 is at your disposal at the link you see here. Feel free to download it, put it into your sandboxes and start to play with it. I'm sure you'll be pleasantly surprised at all the functionality that it delivers. There's another thing above and beyond just Designer. It's the WebFOCUS Hub. Keep your eye open for that. As AJ does a demonstration, you're going to find that very, very effective too. And how do I get more information on that, Joe? Well, take a zip to these touch point links so that you can see the videos and the release notes, again, that give you more details on the new releases. By the way, we can make this PowerPoint available to you at your request so that you can have these links in this whole document available for future reference. Now, I'm going to touch on the topical subject right now and basically start discussing which tool, and look at that from two venues. One is going to be from the role. So if I'm on a certain role, which tool should I select? And here's some guidelines. And that's, again, a very important word here. If you are a business analyst, the reporting guru or the techie analyst, as you see here, and you want to do analytics, departmental-based apps, self-service, info apps, and things like that, Designer will meet your needs. It's very powerful now. It will, deliver what you want. Happy to say. The only caveat I'm going to say now is if you go over to the developer, and this has been the case ever since the beginning, we're still kind of there, but the large, complex enterprise apps, the complex reports and the e-statements, again, App Studio, it will be your selection of choice right now. That will be a moving target. Designer will take on and deliver those capabilities, but as of today, I think App Studio is your choice currently. For the administrator, the person who's going to be developing metadata, doing migration, maybe looking at security and monitoring, and even a resource analyzer for how things are progressing and resource consumption is, we have web-based tools for those people. But I'm happy to say that those tools that are required by the development community, by the business analysts, for example, the metadata utility, and also the create and work with personal data, those web tools are available to the other roles as available, especially through the WebFOCUS Hub. So there's that operative word again. Keep your eyes open for the demonstration of the WebFOCUS Hub. By actual capability or functionality, here's a quick little table. And there's 2 pages to this. One is for document development, again, that compound document, that elaborate PDF document, Designer is only going to support the non-compound standalone documents today, all right? For the advanced reporting, for the e-statements, for the pixel perfect positioning, App Studio today. But now we start to see that Designer is kicking in here. For HTML development, web page creation and authoring, assembly and all that is very powerful with the Designer toolkit. It won't have the fully extensive programmatic capabilities that App Studio does, but that's advantageous because a lot of this is generated automatically. And again, we'll demonstrate that further. Dialogue Manager, for those of you who know WebFOCUS, know that this is an extremely powerful and fundamental part of our WebFOCUS world, being able to do logic branching and dynamic content. If you want to use that at a GUI level, that's App Studio. All right, but if, on the next line, you want to do code-based modifications and put Dialogue Manager in with your text editor, again, all the content created, even from Designer, is supported for editing. But the caveat there is if you make changes that the GUI cannot deal with, it's going to be one-way direction for that. So heads up on that. Data, we can get at all the data regardless of the tool because of our adaptive capabilities, be they on cloud or on-prem. That's business as usual. Info app development. We're going to see AJ create one of these. That really makes me smile to see that info apps can be done within Designer. Heads up here, when you want to embark upon and adopt the new wave of AI and ML, that's really only Designer. So that's the intent there. Esri, hold files coming soon in Designer, so that'll make Designer even that much more robust. And now we'll see Designer really kick in. WebFOCUS portal integration. It just works nicely. It's engineered that way. Both are receiving a lot of R&D out of our corporate resources. Interactive web pages so that the objects all receive the filters from the filter shelf. That is done automatically within Designer. It's programmatic within App Studio, but again, automatic is better. And then we get into branding and searching for your BI assets when you're in your development session. Collaboration, social, chatting. These are some of the new things that you'll see that WebFOCUS is delivering. And the drill anywhere capabilities, again, demonstrable by AJ. And the intangible examples that I have down at the bottom of just nice and modern and effective. Higher productivity, again, are the things that you're going to gain out of Designer. So here's my commercial for TIBCO now. This is an invitation to join next week's sessions. 2 core days, 4 days in total of our annual digital user conference with a wealth of information. Yes, indeed, on Designer. We got a sneak preview of some of that today from Porter, if you know Porter. It was super exciting. So I really want to invite you to that. I couldn't steal a thunder for next week's event. I hope I whetted your appetite just based upon what I showed you today. But again, a lot more content through our user thing. our user conference. And you know what? It's not just WebFOCUS. TIBCO is a very robust solution provider for data virtualization and a number of other capabilities that you'll see TIBCO will be talking about. You'll hear customer case studies. You'll be hearing about keynote speakers, again, in a wealth of information delivered through this venue. Plan to register at the link you see down below. And now I'm going to pass it over to AJ for a demonstration. Thank you very much.